Good morning. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers. And today, I guess, we celebrate Juneteenth and we have flower communion. So it's a big Sunday. My name is Abigail Bottome, and I am a member of the Worship and Music Committee. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. Can you hear me okay? I wasn't leaning in, sorry. If you're a visitor or new to First Parish and are not familiar with the building, please reach out to one of the greeters or any of us if you have questions. The first part of our service is recorded. Following the benediction, the recording will end. Then we will go into our candle section, which is not recorded. The service will be posted on our Facebook page and on YouTube. If you wish to talk with people or meet up with folks after the service, there will be coffee up the hill. Fortunately, the rain stopped and the sun is coming out, so that's a blessing. We are again passing the basket, collecting offerings. First Parish also accepts online offerings, which you can learn more about at the website. Welcome to our service at First Parish Plymouth. Our service today is led by our minister, Reverend Arthur Lavoie. The sermon is a reflection on Juneteenth. Today we will also have our flower communion. Our technical director is Linda Harding. Today's live music is performed by Sandi, Hammond, and also
Harper Walsh.
Okay. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whatever you believe, wherever you are on your journey, let us walk together this hour. Our call to worship this morning. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you.
I mean,
yes.
Okay.
My apologies.
Good morning. I'm the Reverend Arthur Lavoie. My pronouns are he, him, and his. And I want to offer a special welcome to those who are watching online, either on Facebook or on YouTube, or the several local communities where the service is broadcast on public access television. Thank you for being with us today and throughout this year. And I just want to let all those watching online know that the services will not be recorded again until after Labor Day. So this summer we will not be recording services, and I imagine there will be old tapes that will be replaying in our slots for that time. So thank you for being with us. Please visit our website at firstparishplymouthuu.org if you'd like more information about the services, about the church, or about Unitarian Universalism. And again, thank you all for being here, and I'll have more announcements. This is actually our final service for the church year in the meeting house. Next week, everyone will be sent a link to the service that is held at General Assembly, our national conference, so you can watch that service with thousands of other Unitarian Universalists from around the country. And then we begin summer services on Sunday, July 3rd, up in the chapel attached to our parish house. Thank you.
Our call to worship this morning is Amos 5:24. Let justice roll down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream.
Our opening hymn is Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. The words are on an insert in your order of service.
Come, thou fount of
Please remain standing and join with me in reciting the words to our chalice lighting. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in freedom, to speak the truth in love, and to help one another. Please be seated.
Father's Day. It's a big day. And it has good things to think about, and sometimes not so good things to think about. And so I sat down and started thinking about what I've learned from the fathers in my life. From my dad, I learned to take time to do what makes you happy. He's always been really good at saying, and now I'm going to name for one. Or, today's Father's Day, and he's in the British Virgin Islands sailing with 2 of his children. I'm not as good at doing it as he is, but I've learned that from him. From my stepfather, I've learned to plan and be proud of your work, all the way down to taking a quarter and bouncing it on your bed after you made it, and if you did not make it correctly, make it again till the quarter bounces, and then smile. From my husband, I've learned to listen first and not interrupt my children. From my friends, I've learned you need to love and support your village. Not just say it takes a village. Love and support your village. And from my sons, I've learned no matter how much you love your children, your heart continues to grow. And when you see them love their children, it is the biggest joy in the world. So to all those fathers out there, I wish you joy today. To all of those people who have father images, I wish you happiness today.
And here is a prayer for fathers, adapted from a prayer by the Reverend Peter Friedrichs. For sleepless nights awaiting the curfew breakers, for anxious hours as a driving instructor, for hours spent on the sidelines cheering and watching school plays, sometimes resting our eyes, for the pressures of breadwinning and wait till your father gets home, for teaching moments and mentoring moments, for making up answers when you just don't know, but are expected to, because you should know everything. For scrapes and boo-boo kisses and band-aids, for hugs and kisses and silliness and play, for bedtime stories and early morning ice time, for all the aftershave and ties received as gifts, for handing over car keys and waves goodbye, for father-daughter wedding dances and cradling grandchildren for the first time. For all the moments and all the meaning in the role of a lifetime, we offer prayers and blessings for fathers and fatherhood. And now a special tribute. To one of our fathers and all of our fathers.
Aaliyah. I'm singing Three Little Birds because me and Mama walked down the aisle to this song at the wedding when Mama and Daddy got married. Happy Father's Day. I hope you like it. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause everything's gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause everything's gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. Feel little birds, perched on my doorstep, singing sweet songs of melodies pure and true. Singing, this is my message to you. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause everything's gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause everything's gonna be alright. Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. Three little words, perched on my doorstep, singing sweet songs of melodies pure and true. Singing, this is my message to you. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause everything's gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause everything's gonna be alright. No, sing with me. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause everything is gonna be alright. Don't worry about a thing, 'cause everything's gonna be alright.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let
Invite
it
children to
shine.
leave with Deborah.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, 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 let it shine.
Our service this morning is a little different from usual. There's a few different elements we wanted to cover. And I want to share some thoughts about Juneteenth. this morning. Today is Juneteenth, officially Juneteenth National Independence Day. It is now a federal holiday in the United States as of last June. I think this is the first time it's actually celebrated as a federal holiday. President Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation was issued on January 1st, 1863. It took over 2 years until June 19th, 1865, for the last of the slaves to be freed. As Union troops advanced across the South, they would free slaves as they went. It was on this date, in 1865, that the troops arrived in Galveston, Texas, the last state in the Confederacy with institutional slavery. Over the years, Juneteenth was also known as Emancipation Day, Freedom Day, and Black Independence Day, and has been celebrated mostly in the African American community long before most of us in the Euro-American community had even heard of Juneteenth. Most of us here, especially those of us of a certain age, did not grow up knowing about Juneteenth and the important role it had in our history. It's very typical in all societies that those who write the history books are people from the dominant culture. And major events that might be honored in other cultures are not included in our telling of the story. We also tend to overlook or diminish those historical events and realities that don't portray the dominant culture in the most prominent light. And that has now begun to change. And these changes are not always comfortable for us to look at or accept. They say that knowledge is power. We now have more and more knowledge about the injustices of the past. I often wonder if we will use this knowledge to empower ourselves, or will we continue to hide our faces from what has been done in our name? Our liturgical theme this month is blessing. And I would suggest that knowledge, any knowledge, can also be a blessing. I would suggest to us that blessings are not always things that fill our hearts with awe and wonder, as I said in a sermon a couple of weeks ago. I've had a bit of a change in my own thinking since then. A blessing, perhaps, is anything that stops us in our tracks and gives us pause to examine something more closely, to think about things differently, to soothe our aching souls. It's not just the happy stuff that blesses us. A blessing can also be any insight that gives us new information, perhaps about our family, our own history. New information about our culture, or a call to action to heal our broken world. As with any blessing, the question becomes, what will we do with what we have been given? You know, we can always reject a blessing. We often reject blessings that make us feel good and enlighten us. We often don't want to step outside of preconceived notions we have about ourselves, especially if they're disparaging. or self-loathing notions. We can overlook a blessing that touches our hearts with joy, as well as one that challenges us to change something in ourselves or in the world. We can discard knowledge of our shortcomings, as well as knowledge of our goodness. And we do all of this regularly. The choice is ours once again. Will we use our blessings, our knowledge, to bless or curse ourselves and the world around us? One way that we can honor the past is by honoring the current disease of racial injustice and the ways that it has been perpetrated over the years throughout this country. Some of us may have seen the 2019 film Harriet, about Harriet Tubman and her courage and leadership to help slaves get to freedom. It was a great movie, I thought. Cynthia Erivo, who gave us a remarkable performance as Harriet, also co-wrote this song, Stand Up. When Sandi repeats the chorus at the end, I will invite us to stand and sing along, and then remain standing in honor of so many African American people who have been killed needlessly.
Keep on
please rise.
Can we sing the refrain?
I go.
No, that's stand up.
Oh, you want to do the whole chorus? Okay.
Together.
Stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, can you hear freedom calling? Calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones.
Emmett Till, Jimmy Lee Jackson, Malcolm X, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., 4 girls killed in a church in Birmingham, Alabama.
So I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, can you hear freedom calling? Calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones.
Trayvon Martin, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Philando Castillo, Freddie Gray, Eric Garner, Michael Brown, Tamir Rice, David McCarthy, Armin Avery.
It's when I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home. Far across the river, can you hear freedom calling? Calling me to answer. Gonna keep on keeping on. I can feel it in my bones.
8 people murdered at a Bible study in Charleston, South Carolina. Those murdered recently at a grocery store in Buffalo, New York. And all of the countless souls murdered every day on our streets.
I go to prepare a place for you. I go to prepare a place for you. I go to prepare a place for you.
Let's do a round of this little light and change the
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Before you do that, I'm going to do your introduction. Please be seated. One of the rituals we participate in here at First Parish in Plymouth is something called a flower communion. And it was first introduced to our movement by the Reverend Norbert Chapek, who pastored a very large Unitarian church in Prague, Czechoslovakia. It is a way of honoring the earth, of exchanging at this time of spring the bounty of the earth. and remembering all the wonderful gifts that have been given us. Different congregations do it at different times. We use this ritual to close the church year. There will be, Deb will read a poem, I will do a blessing, and then during our closing hymn, I'll invite everyone to come up and take something from the table. There's enough here for everyone. Some of the roses still have little prickers on them, so be careful. Which is the way of life, isn't it?
Flower Communion by Lynn Unger. What a gathering. The purple tongues of iris licking out at spikes of lupine. The orange crepe skirts of poppies lifting over buttercup and daisy. Who can be grim in the face of such abundance? There is nothing to compare, no need for beauty to complete. The voluptuous rhododendron and the plain grass are equally filled with themselves, equally declare the miracles of color and form. This is what community looks like. This vibrant jostle, stem by stem, declaring the marvelous joining. This is the face of communion, the incarnation once more, gracefully resurrected from winter. Hold these things together in your sight. Purple and crimson, magenta and blue. You will be feasting on this long after the flowers are gone.
We bring our regular church year to a close by honoring the abundance that the earth gives us, especially at this time of year. It is also a time when our own spirits, especially this year, many of us are depleted. And our spirits can be refreshed and renewed as we share special time with friends and family and take time for ourselves over the summer. In this ritual, we honor the blessings of the earth and each other by sharing flowers and plants in the communion ritual. As with any blessing, the question becomes, what will we do with what we have been given? A definition of communion is the sharing or exchanging of intimate thoughts or feelings or objects that touch our hearts or speak to us on a spiritual level. We have flowers and plants on the table here. Some have been provided and some you have brought. We ask that during our closing hymn, each of you might come up and take something from the table that is not what you brought. A gift from each other, a gift from all of us, to lead your way into the beauty and the blessings of summer. Please rise in body or in spirit and join in singing the Fire of Commitment in your order of service, and come up and take something from the table during our singing of the closing hymn.
Burns a beacon bright and clear.
Banach by John O'Donoghue. Banach, I believe, is the Celtic word for blessing. On the day when the weight deadens on your shoulders and you stumble, may the clay dance to balance you. And when your eyes freeze behind the gray window and the ghost of loss gets into you, may a flock of colors, indigo, red, green, and azure blue, come to awaken in you a meadow of delight. When the canvas frays in the currach of thought and a stain of ocean blackens beneath you, may there come across the waters a path of yellow moonlight to bring you safely home. May the nourishment of the earth be yours. May the clarity of light be yours. May the fluency of the ocean be yours. May the protection of our ancestors be yours. And so may a slow wind work these words of love around you, an invisible cloak to mind your life. Amen. And blessed be.